back from the dead.
The Great American Scream Machine was a custom steel looping roller coaster located at Six Flags Great Adventure, Jackson, New Jersey. Built and manufactured by Aerodynamics, it was once the fastest and looping roller coaster when it opened to the general public in 1989. But however, this aero looper unofficially ceased operation for good in 2010 and was eventually removed from the park. But how can one single ride be demised so soon after saving Great Adventure from falling down? Here's the history of the Great American Scream Machine, a roller coaster that saved Six Flags Great Adventure from going downhill. Before I begin, please don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel, and turn on that bell icon after pressing the subscribe button if you are new to this channel and want to see more of my content. Anyways, let's just get started. During the 1987 season, Great Adventure wanted to add a giant roller coaster that would be the world's tallest and fastest roller coaster with 7 inversions. But then after seeing the bad publicity and declining attendance involving the tragedy of the death of 6 teenage boys from the haunted castle attraction fire and a 19-year-old woman's death on their Lightning Loops roller coaster Great Adventure saw, the original plans were then moved to Six Flags Great America in Gurnee, Illinois for the 1988 season instead. Great Adventure would also introduce their new Condor Ride and Bugs Bunny Land for an effort to rebuild the park's family image. But then towards the end of the 1988 season, the other coaster that sat Scream Machine's plot before it was built, Sarajevo Bobsled's roller coaster, was closed and removed to begin preparation for a new Great American Scream Machine roller coaster. This mega looper would surpass the record of Shockwave as the world's tallest and fastest coaster, featuring the same exact design as the Shockwave with the red and white color scheme, 7 inversions, and being built 3 feet taller. Additionally, the coaster improved on the aerodynamic Shockwave design, had the track in and out of the third vertical loop, which changed. Originally, the Scream Machine was going to be named the Ninja, but there were a lot of problems with the crowds drawn to the Ninja coasters in other parks. Great Adventure would instead name the coaster the Great American Scream Machine, which inspired the name from Six Flags Over Georgia's PTC Woody, which had the original Scream Machine, while Six Flags Great America drew on the patriotic theme for the new coaster. Then the ride was finally announced. As the removal of the Sarajevo bobsled continued progress, a section of their parking lot became the staging area for the sections of red aero track, white supports, and trains. The parking lot will also become the home to the new coaster. Interesting enough, the original plans had the bobsled station to be reused as part of the main queue house. However, so much of the structure had to be disassembled in order to remove the bobsled's computer, which that idea was dropped. As fall and winter went on from the 1989 season, the Scream Machine rose up above the park's skyline, which was offering a tantalizing view above the trees and on the park's exit road. And then as spring arrived, workers continued trying to get the ride ready for its grand opening. But with delays caused by the very cold and snowy weather, the Great American Scream Machine was not ready in time for the park's opening day for their 1989 season. But then the structure was completed, but the final installations of the supports and welding continued, as well as work on the station and coverings for the walkway. Then finally, everything was ready for the media preview day on April 14th. It was ready for the official grand opening for the general public on Saturday, April 15th, 1989. The weather was nearly perfect for the media day event, with bright sunshine though the temperatures were low and average. The new coaster astounded the media and gleamed the beautiful sunshine, making newscasts in New York and Philadelphia that night and national news for weeks to come. After the media event, the Great American Scream Machine would officially open to the public on April 15, 1989. It was proven to be a hugely popular attraction of the park, drawing numerous amounts of crowds as of having Great Adventure's attendance skyrocketing and having the massive queue line spilling out to the walkway beyond. The queue building was the first in the park to also have vending machines in case guests get hungry or thirsty when waiting. The queue line's theme elements also included various American flags with plaques describing them, pictures of roller coasters including the Scream Machine at Over Georgia and the Shockwave at Six Flags Great America, which inspired it, and giving information into the dates they were adopted. When then entering into the station, guests would board on to one of the 3 trains Scream Machine has, and which that the red train was named Freedom, white train was named Liberty, and blue train was named Spirit. One of the more unique ride features when it opened as the train's onboard lighting with each car having lights in matching colors, which made a really unique look as it ran through the night skies as a trail of glowing spots. When riders board on one of the 3 trains, they would dispatch out of the station and cross through a transfer track and travel down a small dip, then complete a 180-degree turn to the left onto the 173-foot lift hill. Then after climbing all the way up, the train then drops down 155 feet to the left, reaching a top speed of 68 miles per hour. After the first drop, the train then travels through its first single vertical loop. After exiting its first inversion, the train turns to the left and travels through a double loop, which the first inversion being 107 feet tall and the second being 97 feet tall. The train then travels upward with a sharp left turn and onto the mid-course brake run. This is the part where riders complain. It comes to a complete stop for 2 seconds on the mid-course brake run. The train then drops down into another signature element, the Batwing. A Batwing is a roller coaster element which consists of a heart-shaped element that has 2 inversions. Like for example, for these roller coasters that have one are these: Montu's Batwing, Afterburn's Batwing, and Viper's. After going through the Batwing element, the train made an 8th turn where riders' pictures were taken. Riders would then proceed to enter to the 2 final inversions of the Scream Machine, the double corkscrew. Then finally completed another 180-degree turn to the left and onto the final brake run and back to the station. The Great American Scream Machine had the record of the world's tallest and fastest roller coaster for a month since it opened for the 1989 season until Cedar Point's Magnum XL 200, the first roller coaster to break the 200-foot height limit and breaking the record held by the Scream Machine by 32 feet. But despite Great Adventure losing the height and speed records, the opening of Magnum at Cedar Point may have helped the Scream Machine with many new show features on the new roller coaster Renaissance, with both coasters getting airtime together as the world's tallest and fastest coaster and tallest and fastest looping roller coaster. Side by side, this footage made Scream Machine look a lot better since the media day footage was bright and sunny compared to a cold, dark, and gloomy wintering looking media day for Magnum XL 200. A year later, however, Viper, another aerodynamics custom mega looping coaster at Six Flags Magic Mountain, would this time break the record and open as the world's tallest, fastest looping roller coaster, standing with a new 190-foot record breaking once again Scream Machine's height of being the world's tallest and fastest looping roller coaster. Over the times, though, despite having records broken by Viper and Magnum XL 200, the Scream Machine delighted and amazed thousands of riders with its smooth and fast reputation. Though by later on the ride was rough at the time, most coasters were actually designed with a trial and error progress, with many designers not having the powerful computers to do the complex calculations required of determining forces before the track was fabricated and the ride was actually running. The Scream Machine, however, uses the state-of-the-art design, and the track was more fabricated to exacting tolerances that could never be achieved before. But despite having a really careful design, so many modifications over time were eventually required and more considerable to the added, including a trim brake coming out of the first loop to help reduce stress on the tracks and to control the speeds and make forces the ride makes, which also used to slightly adjust the speed of the train when temperatures reach around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, many due to the track welds requiring reinforcement and frequent inspections, and the slowing of the trains to the mid-course brake run to a near stop to help make the direction changes less forceful for rides in the Batwing and entering the double corkscrews. Later on in the 1992-1993 season, the tops of Scream Machine's 3 vertical loops were replaced, with the regular track being removed and replaced with top structural sections that featured extra bracing. These are also done with other aerodynamics coasters that had the same issues with Great American Scream Machine, including Shockwave at Six Flags Great America and Viper at Six Flags Magic Mountain. These new sections did have done the trick, but with the Scream Machine running consistently since their installation and grand opening. Over the time and years, Great Adventure has been adding more thrilling roller coasters to their parks, drawing more attendance and crowds to the park, which was also more an instant success when the park was acquired by Time Warner and Premier Parks. Then, after all the modifications and improvements Great Adventure has done with the Scream Machine since its first opening, the ride had several sponsors, several of which were pictures at its queue line, which were presented by Scope and Slim Jim's catchphrase, "Intense Rush." The plaza and surrounding area in front of the Q Line House have changed, as the area was themed to Andrea's Air Force Base with the arrival of the right stuff, and later with the additions for the new space shuttle and their new B&M flying coaster, Superman Ultimate Flight, in 2003. Great American Scream Machine was also intentionally placed at the end of the boardwalk sections area to draw guests past the counters full of tempting winning prizes and unique games. Later on, more recent additions to the Great American Scream Machine have included the addition of Fastlane, now Flash Fast. I know what y'all are thinking, it's not Cedar Fair, lol. And several updates to on-ride photo systems. In 2002, however, Shockwave at Six Flags Great America, which was Scream Machine's sister coaster, unofficially met its demise that year due to its rough reputation and criticism from guests and high maintenance costs. The ride was also taken down to make way for the new roller coaster Superman Ultimate Flight, which opened the same year as Six Flags Great Adventure's Superman did. The original plans were to remove the Wizard coaster, but due to negative backlash from enthusiasts and parkgoers, they had to reverse course and decide to replace Shockwave with Superman instead. After its removal, Shockwave was placed into storage behind the park and offered for sale, but was scrapped when the efforts failed to get. But not all of Shockwave was scrapped though. One of its trains was brought to Great Adventure for replacement parts for the Great American Scream Machine. It was actually one of 4 trains which belonged to Shockwave. Originally, it consisted 2 red trains and 2 yellow trains, with making the idea that the 4 trains would add capacity for the lines to move quick. It quickly became apparent that only 3 trains were necessary to the most efficient operations Great Adventure has with their B&M Flores coaster Medusa, and since the trains were stacked on the brakes waiting for passengers to load and unload in the station. But when Scream Machine was originally built, it was given 3 trains. But then, more over time, the neighboring rides and sections at Six Flags Great Adventure have undergone many changes, with the most substantial being the construction of the tallest roller coaster in the world, Kingda Ka, and the new Golden Kingdom in 2005. But then suddenly, when the ride, which towered over the Bugs Bunny Land section, was overshadowed by its new neighbor, 456 feet tall, Kingda Ka, which also took the Scream Machine's previous records as the world's tallest and fastest roller coaster. During the same year Kingda Ka opened, the Scream Machine was given a new coat of paint, while its next neighbor, Batman and Robin the Chiller, also did get a new repaint. Then later in 2003, the Liberty White Train was ad-wrapped as an advertisement for one of the ride's sponsors, which got to be glute-styled spiking, which was a type of hair gel. It was the first roller coaster in the park to feature advertisements, while Kingda Ka had a Karate Kid advertisement and El Toro having a Stride Gum advertisement on the speed train, respectfully. However, after 21 years of operation, the Great American Scream Machine had become more rougher, just like what Shockwave had at Six Flags Great America, and this was all confirmed by the park. On July 5th, 2010, Six Flags Great Adventure officially announced that the Great American Scream Machine would close down for good on July 18th. When the park announced its permanent closure, the roller coaster then once again started drawing lines for the first and last time in years, as guests lined up for one last ride on this 21-year-old Aero Mega Looper. Great Adventure then commemorated the ride's years of faithful service with hosting a closing weekend event and t-shirts celebrating the ride of being a really true hero of saving their amusement park from going downhill and its memorial. Then, before the final riders took their last rides and laps, the marking for the new construction began. The Great American Scream Machine was given a final send-off on Sunday, July 18th, with a small party for content winner, which featured a band, food, and a raffle of poster-sized pictures of the ride under construction back in 1989 and in its prime. And then more proceeds from the auction due to seats for the final ride and posted raffle profited the National Roller Coaster Museum. After the final lap of the Scream Machine, riders then disembarked, and the ride was officially retired and never ran a single cycle again after one Sunday night. After the final send-off night, the ride was then completely demolished and everything was all gone after 21 years of standing as a true roller coaster that saved Great Adventure. Following the demolition of the Scream Machine, only Viper at Six Flags Magic Mountain is one of the only 3 of the Aero Mega Looping roller coasters still operating to this day today. Make sure you get a ride on this before Viper closes in the next few years, and same with me too. And then the next following year, when the Great American Scream Machine permanently closed, Green Lantern, a B&M stand-up roller coaster that was relocated from Kentucky Kingdom, which was formerly known as Chang, took its spot and reopened to the public on May 25th, 2011, consisting of having the most B&Ms in one theme park. Not everything on the Scream Machine was demolished though. There's actually a remnant of the top of one of its 3 vertical loops still remaining in effect. When the ride was taken apart, the top of the first loop remnant was placed at the Wild Drive Safari's baboon exhibit from the baboon's playground equipment. So if you want to take a look and get a great photo of its remnant, then the Wild Drive Safari is for you. And as always, the Great American Scream Machine will, again, always be remembered as a true roller coaster that saved Six Flags Great Adventure from going downhill. Happy 4th of July, everyone. If you enjoyed this long video, please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that bell icon for my channel notifications whenever I upload after pressing the subscribe button. Thank you all so much for watching. Always stay positive and keep riding roller coasters. This is JoeTheCoasterFan, signing off.
Back from the dead.